My name is Jeffrey McGee. I'm the sculpture faculty here at San Jacinto College South, and I'm also the art director for Purple. When a couple years ago, actually, it was 1 year ago, actually, I wanted my students in sculpture class to do something that was going to be bigger than themselves, do something that would be used in a production because we have the great thing about this art department is that we have music, we have dance, we have theater and visual arts all under one roof. And I didn't want to waste that. I wanted to make sure that the students were collaborating across disciplines and using skills that were more than just learning how to work with wood or learning how to carve something. So um, we have this thing at Sanjak called the Student Success Initiative Grant. And what it is faculty actually write a grant proposal up to $5,000, and you can get it funded. You have a project funded as long as it pertains to student success. So I wrote this grant, we got accepted, and what the grant did was it bought us all the wood for the masks, all the tools to carve the mask, the paint, the raffia, and it basically supplied all of the materials we were going to need to get the first part of the process started. Um, Once we knew we were going to do this grant, I went talked to Liz. Liz was still an adjunct here, or she still is now too. But so Liz is an adjunct professor here with us at South Campus, and I talked to her and I approached her about doing something that would have been different, something that would have um, not just been the standard kind of drama performance. Luckily, actually, she was talking about doing a mask play almost simultaneously. We didn't even know it, but we were talking about doing a mask play separately, but at the same time. And so when I approached her about doing this grant, she was like, "Oh, well, that's just perfect." So we went ahead, we got the grant accepted, and last semester, my students carved all the masks for Purple. My class enrollment was 13, and we have 11 masks that are actually in the production. Because as art tends to happen with artwork, either something happens in the process of making it, or somebody tends to, drop out, if you will. And I did have one student not complete her mask, and one other student whose mask broke in the process of creating it. But we do have 11 masks created by 11 individual, actually 12, because one of the masks was created in parts by 2 different artists. So 11 masks created by 12 students. We have the antagonist and the protagonist, which are the 2 humanoid, more humanoid than the rest anyways. We have some animals. We have a fish, a wolf, or werewolf, whatever you want to call it, a lion or saber-toothed cat, a raccoon, and a muskox animal. And we also have some spiritual beings. We have Old Broken Nose and the metaphysical man. We're not really sure on his name as of this moment. It's still 3 or 4 weeks out. But we do have a guide, a metaphysical kind of being. And we also have 2 ghosts, which are very stark white. And they're kind of twins almost, if you will. They're kind of the similar character, but they have 2 sides of the personality. We didn't want to pigeonhole the students. So what we did is we gave them examples of masks from around the world. Told them why masks were made, what the reason, gave them some old folk tales that had to do with masks. We kind of liked from the start masks from the Pacific Northwest and some native masks from New York, from the Iroquois culture, which is actually where I'm from. I'm from New York. And if you read the story of Old Broken Nose, that's actually an Iroquois legend. He's part of the False Face Society. He's one of the characters in that kind of culture. So it's pretty interesting to see these students bring all of these influences together and try to make something that actually was cohesive. And at first it felt like they were going to be too far apart. The masks were going to be too different. Based on the fact that one girl, like the antagonist, for example, is based on Japanese kabuki masks. So we have a Japanese influence, we have a Northwest influence, we have an African influence in the metaphysical man. So all of these things coming together, it was like, okay, is this really going to work? But the more they worked on them, the more they started to look the same. They started to work as a group. Especially when we put raffia on all of them and started to paint them. Everything started to come together, and it started to feel like even though these things were carved by different people, it could still be part of a whole, which is really what it's all about.
Okay, my name is Liz Lacey Turrentine. I am on faculty here at San Jacinto College South. I am also the artistic director of the Tardigrade Theater Company, and my position with Purple is I am the director. Tardigrade Theater Company, we started. I have been interested in starting my own theater company for quite some time. I graduated with my master's about 3 years ago, and it's been in the back of my mind. A position opened up at San Jacinto College South, and that was my dream to teach at a community college. However, I did not get the job, and you know how they say when doors close, another one opens. So I thought it was time for me to start the company. So I called in some alum that I had worked with in the past at San Jacinto College, and we started meeting, and it's a very small group at this point. We invited actually more alum than we have in the company at this moment, but you know, people are busy with their lives. So we have about 6 founding members, and I had been discussing with Jeff as part of a faculty collaboration, the MASS project. However, and when I didn't get the job, I wasn't sure if we were still going to do it, but we started talking and agreed that we still wanted to do it for his art students. And instead of becoming just a school collaboration, it became part of the theater company and the art department. So, and we auditioned, and we have some students in the production. But it became, we wanted to do the mask, a mask play. However, it has evolved greatly from the beginning ideas that we had discussed, and has become a devised performance project, if you will. And we wanted to, you know, your dream is to start your own theater company to produce the sort of productions that you want to produce without anybody else's guidelines. So we have some great projects in the works for the future, but this first project, we wanted to create something, for me, visually stunning, and which of course constitutes, you know, use of the mask and character movement more than dialogue, if you will. And that's because of my dance background, that I'm very interested in movement and visually, you know, work based on visuals, just as opposed to, obviously we don't have a script, you know, and working it more organically. And also inspired by that, I had a deaf student last semester in one of my classes, and it really started making me think about what he was processing from the films we watched and, you know, projects that we discussed. And I wanted to create something that people, through movement and very little dialogue, you have a story. The original idea that we had, we always knew we wanted to do a collaboration, not just with the art department on the mask, but with the company itself. So once we cast the show, all the original ideas that we had as far as storyline and characters kind of got out the window, because even though we had, you know, it's been a back and forth. We did research on Native American masks, showed those to the art department, the students, and then based on that, they came up with their own ideas. So we have some masks that are Native American, some that are Kabuki in origin. So we started coming up with a story based on those masks. However, once you cast the show and your actual actors create characters that are different from what you originally had in mind, then of course the show evolves from that. We're keeping the original idea that we had, but it's very loosely based on that idea, and any scenes that we had planned out or anything like that have completely evolved and, you know, become its own monster, and I mean that in a positive connotation. But it's constantly evolving. Every night we have rehearsal. Someone else has an idea. I have an idea from something I see on stage. Completely changes, you know, the process. Or not the process, but the result. We have broken it down where basically each mask has its own scene, but it's based on the actor's character study of the mask and what that character symbolizes, to a main idea that, you know, like I said, we created from the beginning, being cast into darkness and trying to escape that darkness. And then I watch the scene, so it's completely improv, and then I watch it and make suggestions. And we haven't even decided the order of the show at this point. Once all the scenes are completed, we will go back and look at them and see what order the story should take. So the ending at this point, we have no idea what's going to happen.
I'm Johnny Steven De La Cerda, and I am playing the antagonist in the show Purple. Before I was casted as the antagonist, I really didn't have any thoughts for it. Like, when I first saw it and I saw everyone do the exercises, I just thought I was just blank for it. I mean, judging by the look of the mask, it was very mysterious and really dark, and you could tell right off the bat, out of all the other masks, that it was the antagonist. It was something evil, judging by the color, the hair length, everything. Like, you could just completely tell. My thoughts on the antagonist now are, it's getting a lot darker than I thought it would. A lot of the scenes that we're working, I'm actually getting more surprised when I'm having to pop out, because it seems to be, it's more dark and a bit creepier. But in my mind, whenever I first thought about the antagonist, like I thought, like when I got casted and I was trying to create a character analysis for it, like my biggest thing was trying to find a weakness for him. And the weakness for him, I think, is being lonely. Like, for instance, if you were to see the protagonist with all his friends and all these having a good time, but the antagonist is all alone, you know, and so he tries to like convert people to his side, the dark side, but you know, he doesn't know that he's converting them to the dark side. It's just like a hey, come check this out. He doesn't know he's being evil. He's just doing what he thinks is right. But I mean, after a while, you know, the darkness consumes him and consumes everyone, you know, and all for the sake of him, for his little greed of, so he won't be lonely. My thoughts and feelings for the show, I'm having a blast. I am having so much fun. I mean, like coming here to rehearsals and rehearsing with everyone, the people I'm working with, I mean, I'm having a damn good time. I mean, I always love working with Liz, and some of the people that are working on the show are my friends, and people I don't know, I'm enjoying getting to know them. And like if I'm having a bad day, this is the peak of my day. As soon as I come to rehearsals, it just washes away, and I'm ecstatic when I'm here. I have a damn good time. I love the show.
Justin Thomas, I'm in the Greek chorus. Before I was casted, I knew there was collaboration between our department and the Tardigrade Theater, but I thought it was going to be a normal show with script and mask. That turned out to be different. My thoughts and feelings. I think it's going to be a really great show. So far, you know, every night I'm discovering something different, and I'm learning through rehearsal process that I can be looser, and we're learning different how to interpret it better. This is a very interpretive show, and I like it because I don't think I've ever done a show like this before. Oh man, I don't want to step on anyone's feelings. My favorite mask would probably have to be the muskox mask, because Sarah looks so adorable with the little mask, and it's supposed to be like this big muskox, and it's Sarah, this little girl playing it, so it's pretty funny. Yeah, I would say I do. I want to say it'd be warm-ups. Warm-ups bringing us all together, and we do Big Booty a lot. And it gets us stretching. I'm still sore for like 4 days. So the best part about it, probably warm-ups.